respect.
What about a coalition of the willing within the EU? What do you think about that?
Coalition of the willing to do what?
To come up with new ideas, to come up with a strategy, to go it alone, as long as you have Germany in, so that they can pay.
Okay, I think that I am agreeing with Paolo that the problem is huge. Maybe it is the problem of the future of Europe. So we need to find permanent strategies. And I think that there are two ways to face difficulties and problems. The first way is to wait. To wait and to cover the problem under the carpet. The other way is to try to find solutions, sometimes with risk and difficulties, but to take initiatives with dynamism in order to solve problems. So this is my strategy for my country's difficulties. I took the power in a very difficult time for Greece. I said before the financial crisis, the refugee crisis, in a very destabilized area, fragile area all around, with an aggressive neighbor, and sometimes unpredictable, with an aggressive military activity in Aegean, with dogfights and overflights over our islands and so on, with violations of the international law, with open difficulties in open issues as the Cyprus issue, and with all around my country, especially in the south, in Libya, in Middle East, in Syria, open issues and difficulties. So what was my approaching in these problems? That Greece has to be part of the solution and not part of the problems. This was not every time easy internally. I had a very difficult reaction from the opposition. I was the Prime Minister that I went 3 times in less of 8 months in Turkey to discuss with Erdogan in a very difficult conditions. And I tried, Paolo reminded me, the first meeting for the migrations in 2015, that Matteo tried to convince our partners that we have something to do with Libya, and I tried to alarm that it's not only Libya that we have to cooperate with Erdogan, because the flows will come also from Turkey. And this happened just after that meeting with this very difficult summer of 2015. I think that we're obliged to take difficult decisions. And we have to admit that Europe and the so-called West world made mistakes in the past. In the war in Iraq, in Libya, with the situation in Syria, with the difficulties to show a decisive stance in order to solve the Middle East problem, of course, with the situation in Balkans and so on. So what we have to do now, I think, that it is to take brave decisions for the future. I believe that we have to, at least, to decide in the European Union that the European Union is not a la carte. So, if somebody believes that European Union is only for benefits, they have to understand that it is not. We have rules. When I was in the difficulties of the financial crisis, Mr. Schäuble told to everybody that rules are rules, that pacta sunt servanda. So this is something that also my friend, very close friend, Viktor Orban, has to understand. Rules are rules. So the problem is not a problem of Greece and Italy and Spain and, I don't know, from concrete countries. This is a European problem. So we need absolutely agreeing with you. We need a common European migration and asylum policy. And we need to implement the agreements. The EU-Turkey agreement, it is a very difficult one. And it is a very difficult one if you want to implement the agreement with, at the same time, to respect the international law, the Geneva Agreement, and so on. So we are trying to examine one by one all the asylum applications.
Well, it's also an agreement that it's also an agreement where Turkey can change its mind.
Of course.
At any point.
Of course. So at the same time, we have to take a decision what we're going to do with this aggressive behavior of Turkey. And for somebody, it's very easy to be also aggressive if they are living in Luxembourg or in Netherlands, because their neighbors are Belgium and Luxembourg, and not Turkey. But it's not so easy for us. But one thing I want to add. The EU-Turkey agreement, it is difficult, but it is a necessary agreement. Because, first of all, not we decrease the flows, we decrease the deaths in Aegean. This tragedy that we saw every day in Aegean with people that left their life on the waters under the manipulation of the smugglers. So we have to hit the smugglers' networks, and at the same time, we have to promote a common migration policy, and this means legal flows. Legal flows, not to stop the flows, not fences, as happened in our northern borders. Because this is a policy that, from my point of view, is a policy that is not looking to the future.
Well, more